Sunday. Well, late night Sunday. Yep, it's night outside. So, it's a little late night single Sunday. That's right, we got a little late night action that's going on. Finally read the books. Finally got around to it. A little chaos, disorder, but we'll make the Joker proud. Without further ado, this is Single Sundays. This is where we end up covering our single books that we picked up this week. This is where we're going to end up breaking down, going over what we end up having in our poll list. And if you don't know what a poll is, that's what you end up picking up for your comic book shop or online comic book shop. Either way, these are going to be the single issues that you don't want to be missing out, something you want to be reading. So we normally manage our poll list as well. So we end up breaking it down, what we want to add, what we're taking off, what's on the radar, what's on the chopping block, and what we're liking. So with that said, let's dive in and break down what we have so far for a single Sunday. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 books this week. So that means we have a top 4. So coming in at number 4 is going to be issue number 4 of Jeff the Land Shark. Again, this is shenanigans, and my hand's covering Jeff, which is kind of a little frustrating, but hey, that little land shark has a bunch of little cute little moments that could come over with that. And like I said, this isn't a comic that I'm expecting to be in the top rating of any kind of poll. This is something that is a fun book. This is something that, sometimes you just need to have that book if you're having a rough day to be able to pick up, read, and go right on over with. And that's what this book is. It's a nice little guilty pleasure. So, already at the top 3. So coming in at number 3 is going to be Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 12. We got some maze action, some getting out of the maze action, and something that's going to be happening that's built up with it. That's why this ended up making it number 3. Had a little bit more action that came along with it, and I like the progression that we ended up getting with the story. Back-to-back Kelly Thompson books. Alright. Coming in at number 2 is going to be issue number 21 of Ultimate Spider-Man. That's right, we ended up having an explosive result that comes over with this. We also have a meeting with the Mysterios. And not to be negative or anything, but we ended up meeting another guy that ends up mind-breaking a certain person to end up becoming mysterious? Holy smokes, I can't believe I got through all that. But it has some good action, it had that going on, and it was a solid book that ended up building up and making you wonder, what's happening? What's next? What? And our number 1 book this week is one of a flyer that we ended up picking up on the accounts that I just seen what it was and the interesting of it. And yes, I know you're not supposed to read a book by its cover or pick up a book by a cover, but I ended up having to do that. And that is Masters of the Universe, The Sword of Flaws, Part 1. Freddie Williams is over on art, which I ended up liking. I got his exposure to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I digress. We end up getting the typical He-Man stuff that goes over with it, but we end up finding the mysterious of another sword that's like the Power Sword. What's a sword? What does it do? Well, we have to read to be able to find out. Unfortunately, though, this is just a setup to be able to get over there and introducing said sword. We don't know what it does yet. It leaves us on a little cliffhanger, and that's why it is the number 1 book of this week. So let's take that entire thing and go right back over into our poll list and review of our poll list. Right now we don't have anything that's on the chopping block quite yet, and well, if we're going with books that we're possibly adding, I would say would be the 2 big times ones. I just happen to have them right here. Well, obviously, Masters of the Universe. This is a possible pickup while we're onto the poll list. And Spider-Man 94. Why Spider-Man 94? Well, the big reason is because this is a tie-in to wrap up the entire Spider-Man, well, cartoon series that you ended up picking up. It's also by J. Mateus, and I'm enjoying what I ended up reading of it, and I am curious of how they're going to connect this over into X-Men 97, how you ended up seeing that one scene in there. So that's something that's possibly on that list. So the Masters of the Universe, I need to find out what that other sword is. So that's why it has my little peak of interest that may end up being added. And, well, gotta find out how Spider-Man got Mary Jane. I'm sorry. If that was spoilers, I'm sorry. There's been a bit. But that concludes our single Sunday. So, like I said, this is a little late night action that came along with it. And I'd like to thank you guys for ended up watching it. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.